Hi everyone, this is Stephanie and welcome back to another tutorial with me. In today's tutorial, we will be going over form validation in PHP. In order for us to begin form validation, we must use something called PHP filters. And PHP filters are used to validate or sanitize your data. Now, there are two things. There's validating data and there's sanitizing data. These are two different things. The validating data determines if the data is in proper form, while the sanitizing data removes any illegal character from the data. So I am going to show you an example of validating and sanitizing your data. So let's begin, guys. First thing is first, I made a little form and all it requires for you to have an email. And that is it. So this is how it looks. Just like that. Simple as that. An email input and a submit button along with the asterisk. So now let's go over here and begin. So I have started the session and I have made a variable C that is going to hold my error message if I have one. So the first thing is first, I'm going to show you what the validating data looks like. First, we're going to make an if statement and say if the form has been submitted. So if the form has been submitted, what do we want it to do? If, we're going to make another if statement, and I just want to make sure that it's not empty. The input itself is not empty. And I also want to validate the email to make sure that it's a valid email. So I will write not filter var, and the function will take post email, the email input, and then it will take filter validate email. And if this is not equal to false, okay. So now if everything is true, if the input is not empty, and if whatever they type is a valid email, then what do we want to do? We want to go ahead and start and make a session variable, and I'm going to call this input equal to post email. And then we're just going to go ahead and echo your email is dot and the session variable name, which is input. And that is all for that part. Now, if there are any errors, let's say if the input is empty, then what do we want to do? Suppose email, that variable that we made, C, is going to say email is required. Else if that's not the problem, let's say that the email is not a valid email. So not filter var post email, comma, filter validate email, got it for me. And if this is not equal to true, meaning it's not a valid email, then what do we want to do? That same variable C is going to equal to invalid email. And that is all. And let's just put a little exclamation point. And we are good to go. So we check if the input is not empty and if it's a valid email address. So let's go ahead and save this. And now I'm going to refresh this page. And we have an error on line 35. Oh my goodness. How can it be line 35 if, okay, I see why. Okay, so now it looks like it works. So I'm going to submit the form without putting any email. And we get email is required. Now I'm going to enter a invalid email. And I'm going to submit. And it says invalid email. Now I will enter a valid email. And this time it says your email is whatever I enter. And that is how you validate the email. You can also validate an URL. Let's say I wanted the user to enter a valid URL. So I'm not going to change the name of this. I'm just going to change the placeholder name to URL. Okay. And this time, instead of saying validate email, we're going to say validate URL. And same thing goes for here. URL. Invalid URL. And let's just say the URL is required. So in this case, you must enter a valid URL. So let's go ahead and save this. And now let's go ahead and refresh. And now it asks for a valid URL. Now if I enter something like this, then it will tell me that it's an invalid URL. Now I have to enter a valid URL. So I'm just going to enter something like Facebook, copy, and paste it here. So submit. And it says your email is www.facebook.com. Well, I meant to say your URL is www.facebook.com. And that is how you validate the input data. Now, let's go ahead and erase all of this. And this time we will sanitize a data. And I'm going to change this back to email. And now the sanitize data is different. All it does is removes any illegal character. So I'm going to make an if statement again. Well, I probably should have erased everything, but oh well, too late. Post email, and we're going to make a variable a equal to filter var post email, comma, filter validate, not validate, but sanitize email. Okay, and now we're just going to go ahead and echo that variable a, and that is all we have to do for the sanitize. Now let's save this and let me show you what happens. So now I'm just going to go refresh this page. And now I'm going to go ahead and attempt to write a invalid email. So I'm just going to write something like gg / what else should I add? Semicolon at yahoo.com. So I'm just going to copy this in because I want to show you exactly what happens. So now I'm going to submit this form and watch what happens. Submit. And as you can see now, the email is gg@yahoo.com. Notice that it took away the / the 2 semicolons. Remember, we have something like this, and it removed all of this right here, and it corrected the email for us. So that is what the Sanitize does. It just removes the illegal characters that are not supposed to be a part of the email. And that is it for this tutorial, guys. So I hope you see how everything works, how the validating works, and how the sanitizing works. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys on the next tutorial. Bye!